Hey everybody, late night gun chat here, and Alaskan Ballistics. You guys know the drill. We're going over whatever questions about guns you want to talk about. I may or may not be the best one to answer them, but that's what we're doing. I've sent several invites out to people to join us, but haven't seen anybody come in yet. We've got Grizzly Crazy was the first one here. What's up, brother? How you doing? 67 Rebel SST AMC. Good to be here. There you go. All right, Leland Holton. My wife carries a 10 millimeter, 4.5 inch XDM in her vehicle for defense. I tell you what, 180 grain Harley points are gnarly, and so are 220 grain hardcast. Yeah, they are. It's a good gun. It's a good gun. Make sure you replace the front sight with a really good front sight, because they have a tendency to fall off on the large frame Springfields. Apparently, it's been doing it on the 45 for years, and when we shot Chooks 5.25 inch XDM, his fell off on the case in the case on the way home. The sight was in the case, falling off, which means it would have flown off on the next shot. So apparently that's been happening for years. But the gun itself, the function is good. Just replace the front sight with some good night sights. I'm a Trijicon guy, but night sights are what people like best. It's a personal preference. I've always had good luck with Trijicons. They last and meprolites, both of them, they both last like dozens of years. So other than that, that's that. So I know meprolite's pretty good. Trijicon, Alaska one. Andy, good evening. Brownies for my fat, good evening. So anyway, definitely a good gun. 10 millimeters the way to go. So let's see. Looks like we got Rob here from Cherry City Guns and Ammo. Rob, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just got on here a little bit late. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't warn you I was going to do it, so thanks for showing up.
You actually warned me that you weren't going to do it.
Yeah, I know. Depending on how I felt, I just had a tooth pulled that was cracked, and I cracked on something, and so I'm hopped up on painkillers and ready to go. So, and I'm hopped up on antibiotics because I have an ear infection, which has pretty much gone away. So, let's see. We got Garage Guy 879, Lever Guns 50. Great channel. Go subscribe to him. Make sure you subscribe to him because he has some awesome guns. So here's Lever Guns 50. Here's a question I have for you. I would like a lever action 243 with a 24-inch barrel. Does such a thing exist? I know the Henry Lone Ranger, Henry Long Ranger is a 20-inch barrel. And I believe the Browning right now, BLR, is also a 20-inch barrel. 22 would be a nice compromise, but I really want a 24 for that velocity. Tell me, can I get that or not? Is that something I can get or not? Lever Guns 50. If anybody wants to know why, Buffman Range has a great video of the Fort Scott Munitions, who I have a dealer now here that carries it in Alaska. So eventually throughout the year, I should be able to get some. Fort Scott Munitions, 58 grain, the tumble upon impact, solid copper bullet. It's going 3,700 feet per second. Buffman Range has a video of it going through a level 4 vest at 100 yards. So I just thought it'd be fun to try that out. So that's kind of why I want that. I was thinking about building a gas gun AR-10 with a 24-inch barrel, but I can only find 22-inch barrels for it right now. Just to stick it on top of the 6.5 upper I have right now. So just switch out the uppers. So anyway, Rob, are you familiar with that by any chance?
No, unfortunately, I got nothing for you.
BLR comes with a 22-inch barrel, I believe. Yeah, I think I've seen them with both, but that's all I got. So what do you think? Would I lose enough velocity from a gas-operated semi-automatic in an AR-10 platform that it'd be cool to go to a 24-inch lever action platform, or would the difference, because you lose some velocity in it being a gas operated semi-automatic, because some of the gas is going back to operate the bolt. Not that much, but you'd lose some. Would it be better just to go with a 24-inch gas gun if I can't find I know you need the 24 inches to get 3,700 feet per second. So
My only issue with the 24-inch barrel on an AR platform is, a 24-inch barrel on a standard bolt gun is not overly unwieldy. But in the AR configuration, it gets really long. It gets to be quite a bit if you're talking about this being a field gun.
yeah, this would be more of a, I don't know. It'd be more of a, what could you use it for? Like, it'd be more of a channel gun more than anything. So have you tried a 6.5 PRC yet? Torn between that or a 6.5 by 284. So I have a 6.5 by 284, and I like it. According to the reloading manuals, I should be able to get 100 feet per second more with the 6.5 PRC. The downside to the PRC and the 6.5 by 284 over the Creedmoor is barrel life, because they're both known as throat erosion burners, and they're going to really sacrifice match grade accuracy on your barrel. And match grade accuracy expected to be 1,300 rounds for the PRC and about 1,700 rounds for the 6.5 by 284. So I don't know. Have you tried a PRC yet, Rob?
I have not. The closest thing I've tried is I've tried a 6.5-06 and a 6.5 300 Weatherby.
Both of those are known to be throat burner, 400, 500 round barrel lives.
Yeah, and out of the hundreds of guns that my gun club has had come through sight-in service while I've worked it over the years, that 6.5 by 300 Weatherby was the loudest, most ear-splitting gun I've ever heard.
There you go. Yes, go back and write a comment on the ATF section for the braces. They did not take it down like they said they were going to. So make sure you're going and writing a comment on the braces. Brownies, will you try to find a link for that and put it in my chat? I know I've got one on my channel somewhere, but they did not take it down. So make sure you go and do another comment on the braces section. That needs to be up over 500, 600,000 people. And a lot of people just aren't writing on those comments anymore because they think that the ATF is going to do what they want to anyway. And there's a good chance you're right about that, but at least make your voice known, because if you're not willing to pick up a pen, you're definitely not willing to pick up a gun when it comes to defending yourself and your rights. So,
and keep in mind when you do that, guys, as much as we want to cuss them out and whatnot, you got to keep professional or they will throw it out. They will not count your comment.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I just make dinky little comments from my home, like, the ATF does not have the power to do this. It's not in the Constitution. Send. Then do another one. Violating this would violate the Americans with Disabilities Act, because these were designed for people with handicaps. What type of exceptions and to the rules are you going to have for this law? So make sure everybody that what the ATF lied. LOL. Yeah, exactly. The ATF lied. Yeah, believe that. All right. What's up, Wildflower? Good to see you here again tonight. All right. Thanks for joining us last week. And good. Adam, good to see you. All right. ATF or BATF, since they have a use or lose fund, BATF is always changing the name, patches, letterheads, lame. Yeah, there is that. But, they're always changing the laws too. Let's see, who do we got here? Told you so. Who did I send to my stream? It's Michael Kaler. What's up, Michael Kaler? How y'all doing?
Oh, loving life, dude. Loving life.
Cool. All right, Daniel Ravenstar, greetings. So, looks like Lee just put this in the chat here. So make sure you go and make a comment on the braces section. It is still open. They have not taken it down from the Federal Register.
They did take it down, but if you noticed, in place of it, and I went on a couple, I don't remember whose pages I went on or whose channels I went on and said it. It specifically said that it was being taken down for administrative reasons. That doesn't mean they pulled the bill or law or anything. That means that somebody wrote something wrong. The administrative filing code on it was wrong. The date on it was wrong. something. And so they pulled it down to fix whatever that was, and if somebody who wants to go through line by line to every page could find the errors. There were probably a couple of them. That's why they put it up. That's why they put it up for comment, took it down, saw what people were going to do, and now they're going to put it back up with those administrative errors that could easily be challenged in court. They went and put it back up without those administrative errors, because those administrative errors could mean that it didn't even take a court battle. All they would have to do is go say they were going to take it to court and realize that as soon as it went in front of a judge, it was bad paperwork, because it was, signed in 1921 or signed in 2121, or the administrative code meant that it was national park paperwork, or whatever this administrative error was. I was hoping it was otherwise, but it wasn't. They said they were taking it down for an administrative error, and now it's back up. And you're right, we still need to get more people to sign off on it.
Absolutely. So definitely not cool. Alaskan Dabbers is here. It's good to see you, man. Good luck on your mule deer hunt, Grizzly Crazy. Yep. John Wesley, hello from Kentucky. Okay, must be from a good Methodist family there. All right. Hi guys, getting ready to build an AR-15 pistol. Any thought on a linear compensator to replace the A2 flash hider to keep noise level down? My personal opinion is, what's the gun going to be used for? If it's a bug out gun, like you want a rifle caliber, 10.5, 11-inch barrel so that you can still shoot 300 or 400 yards or whatever, and, still do your thing, you want a flash hider. If it's a bug out gun, you want a flash hider. You just want to invest in a really good flash hider like a Smith Vortex. If it's going to be just a fun gun around the house, maybe home defense against criminals, then yeah, the cat can is fine. Like the linear compensator, so any one of those forward throwing things is fine. I have the PSA can on my PSA that's a lot like the cat can. It's a copy. So yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Rob, what do you think?
I kind of like them. I don't really have a specific preferences to a brand of them, because I've only tried a couple of them. But they work pretty well from the few I've been around.
There you go. What do you think, Michael Kaler?
If you can get, I guess they fall into two categories. The new ones that I've never used that keep the level down to a less than 140 decibels with the shooter's ear. And then some of the, older ones, which were good, but maybe not super great. I guess I would say if you're going to do it, yeah, I would get it to one that keeps it at the shooter's ear less than 140 decibels. And other than that, I guess they're all the same, except for looks, maybe. Yeah.
They do look cool on the end of the gun, but they do make the gun more forward heavy and make the stuff more, I just think for a SHTF gun, bug out gun, you're giving away your position if you're not hiding your flash. That's my opinion. Like for me, if you're in an SHTF situation, you've got your ear pro on that's electronic where you can hear footsteps and that kind of thing, or you got a suppressor, one of the two, or both. So definitely something to consider. Anyway, all right. Wouldn't Ronies qualify as a pistol brace? From a second, yes, they absolutely would qualify as pistol brace if they're the pistol brace version and not the SBR version. There was several that were marketed as an SBR for a Form 1. So $2 a shot for his 444 Marlin, great caliber. All right, Brownies, thank you for putting the comment on there. So. Yeah, in a high adrenaline dump when things go bump in the night, I'm not concerned in the house. What's the threat? Yeah, for a home protection gun, it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't put a big muzzle brake that shows you all the flash in your face in a dark house. But, Well, here's
one of the things you got to remember, though, is that if it's your house, you have several options. So first, we'll talk about auditory exclusion. Auditory exclusion, we don't know how it happens. And if you guys want to go into it, John Lovell from Warrior Poet Society, he talks about it as well. It's one of those things you talk about in a close quarters battle environment. And that's where we don't know how it happens, but the brain shuts off the auditory nerves when that happens. Now, it will not stop your eardrum from blowing, but what it does do is it stops the loss of hearing, and especially that immediate ringing, that tinnitus-like ringing in your ears when it happens. So that, not a huge concern. It's well documented that happens. Second, if it is your house, why is it still dark?
Good point.
Take ownership of it. You know the lights are coming on. They don't. You know where the light switches are. So yes, that can be an advantage, because if you've got a suppressor or something that completely negates the flash, yeah, hey man, that works great. You got night vision? Because if you got a flashlight, well, I have a flash hider. If you're going through with a white light to ID it, your flash hider, not going to do a lot of good. You've already, blinded yourself. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on as you move down. The worst case scenario is they're going to end up like a trapped rat in one room, in which case you might not have to do anything. And you can actually just hold them there while taking a barricade and call the police if you choose to do so, which a lot of times it's probably best because, who really wants to do that? Another thing would be if you have night vision, whole nother world. Now, yes, the less flash you can have, you've got your IR spot, IR strobe, even an IR flood possibly, it brings up a whole different thing.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one thing I would really like to spend money on is get some night vision, but not in the cards.
And I would like to thank Brownies for my fat for shout out. Thank you. Yeah.
So he puts everybody's channel link in there. Make sure you go subscribe. So
Hey.
Mike Taylor really helped me with the body armor video a few weeks ago. So make sure you go subscribe there. Wildfire likes shorty cans. Rob, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I 100% believe in the whole audio exclusion thing. I've never been in a firefight per se, but in a hunting scenario, it's something that I've noticed. You shoot an animal, you don't notice the muzzle blast, you don't notice the recoil. None of those things exist. Which I'm a big fan of muzzle brakes. I put muzzle brakes in every gun I have, and I get crap for it from some of the old guys at the gun club, and they go, well, what are you going to do when you're out there hunting? You're not going to have a bunch of hearing protection and stuff, are you? Well, no, but I'm also not going to notice, especially when it's, at least in a hunting scenario, it's not going to be too many shots.
Well, and that's the thing is if you're into your scope and into the rest of your environment like you should be, and that shot actually surprises you a little bit, then yeah, it's going to shock your body. And if you are out on a hunting stand, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
So my ears ring for a couple of days. It's not enough to do serious damage.
Yeah.
That's a great point of put a brake on your gun.
Now I've noticed
with it. Why not?
I've noticed hunting that my rifle shot that took down the animal doesn't bother me, even several rifle shots in a row. But if I have to walk up to the animal and put it down with a handgun, that bothers my ears pretty badly. So I've started carrying Ear Pro with me for that. Now I'm gonna invest in there's a new Howard light that's a 30 decibel electronic, and to me you should never wear less than 30 decibels because every 3 decibels is like double the last 3, right? So 6 is double 3, 9 is double 6, 12 is double 9, right? Because it's exponential growth, as I understand it, as I've been told. I could be wrong. So like, I don't think you should ever do less than 30 because 30 is double the hearing projection of 27, right? Because every 3 is double in the exponential growth factor there. I could be wrong on that. Somebody correct me in the comments or in the side chat if I am. But so you should never do less than 30, 33, 32. on your hearing protection, because you can get a lot of hearing protection that way. And that's why suppressors that take your gun down from 170 to 140 make it sound really nice, you know.
Okay.
So there's that. Kick stereo with ABBA on. No, not ABBA. How about AC/DC? But yeah, that's that. Yep.
Yeah.
In the house when somebody breaks in, kick the
Actually, so
stereo.
I've got mine down. They're actually down in the garage right now. But I got the Walker's XL 500s or Walker XL 50s, and they're Bluetooth and electronic.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, those things are money.
Yeah, I've heard
those out.
Definitely heard good things about them. Rob, what do you use for hearing protection?
I use a pair of the older Walkers myself. I don't have any of the Bluetooth ones, but yeah, I mean, I sometimes even double up when I'm at the range. I mean, I take enough of a beating, you know, out hunting and stuff like that. But you know, at the range, especially if I'm doing anything big bore, it's plugs and muffs.
And that's one of those things too, is that if you put in plugs and your muffs, and you get done shooting and take your muffs off, so you can be more comfortable and get up and walk or adjust your glasses, whatever, you still got plugs in that are usually in the range of 27 to 30, you know, if you get good ones. So that, and really there's no reason not to.
Absolutely. I've lost so much hearing that I just do it all the time anyway. If I'm going to shoot, I put plugs and muffs in it, and if I can. So I think I forgot to a couple times recently, but definitely let's do that. So always use double air throw. There you go, Wildflower. I agree.
Check out Booger Dog.
Gave us 0 hearing protection. Been in a 5-inch gun.
Booger Dog. Was that a 5-inch 38? And if so, what destroyer?
Yeah, that would really stink. That's a loud gun going off.
Wow. I'm a huge fan of those, like of the, you know, the old tin can Navy, man. Those dudes. Yeah, especially back in those days. Darby 218. Okay, I'm gonna need to check that one. I'm gonna go when we get off here. I'm gonna go check that destroyer's battle history and all that.
Nice. Thank you for your service, Booger Dog,
Mm-hmm.
and keeping us safe and all that jazz. So. All right, so this is driven by you guys' questions. So, you got any more questions in the comment section? Go ahead and ask them. So
here, I'll throw out an open question for everybody, just, you know, while we're waiting for others to come up. Who has recipes for 375 Ruger using maybe oddball powders?
That's a good
like
question.
Some of these ones that are showing up on the shelf right now.
I know Arctic Ammo has supply of powders almost every week, Michael. So, you know, I know Hybrid V1000 is good in a lot of different powders, but you know, it really depends on what bullets you're going with. Are you doing nozzle petition or Barnes or what?
Dude, right now I'm going with whatever is cheapest. This is just for me and the old lady to get on the gun and get some time working the bolt, getting used to shooting it.
Did you buy a 375 already?
Yep.
Cool.
That
means I'm off the hook for that 338 ammo we bet on.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with that then. We'll figure it out, dude.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so she.
Hey, if anybody's getting rid of 338 ammo, pass it this way.
No, we made a bet and I lost, and I owe him a box of 338 ammo, but then he didn't buy a 338.
Yeah, now I bought a 375. Well, and I did. I got to be honest here. Like, I would love to be like, oh yeah, I bought my bear gun and the wife wants to use it someday. Nope, no. She bought herself a Savage 110 375 Ruger with the turn off and on muzzle brake and a 23-inch barrel.
That ought to be a good gun. So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're so we've got a safari that we're going to be going on in Africa coming up later. Well, I'll just say later this year. And so she wanted, even though that's a bit much for Plains game, you know, she wanted to be sure. And this is one of those times where the people at some of these gun stores, you say things like, well, in Alaska, you got to have 300 Win Mag, got to have a little bit of extra oomph. 308 just don't cut it. Well, this is one of those things where, yeah, because she's not quite as accurate as I am. She doesn't build her position as repetitively as I do. And that's fine. So we went with something a little bigger, and then I can use it for bear or, you know, light armored vehicles, whatever I need it for later.
There you go. Yeah. Rob, you have really disappointed CloverTac. I just want you to know he's in the chat and he's really disappointed with you here. He was told this was the place to go in order to watch the latest video from Hickok 45. So you're never living that down, brother.
Clover, I really hope we meet someday.
I was actually on CloverTac's channel today. I can't tell you what I was looking for, but I was looking for something and his channel came up.
There you go. So he's got a great channel. He's just crossed 5,000 subscribers. Everybody go check him out. And CloverTac, I sent you a link. So if you want to jump in, man. You're one of the people I always send a link to. What's up, Vet and Dad Tactical? Good evening. Also a good channel. Go check him out. Yeah, I need to send you a link somehow and get you in here. I know you're on East Coast time though, so it's really hard for you to stay up all night. But wife step up to a big bore rifle. There you go. My wife shoots my 338. She loves shooting my 338. I mean, for you know, with the limb saver that it's on there and the recoil pad that's on there, you know, my wife loves shooting my 338. I still can only shoot it about 12, 13 times in a row, but she can shoot it 20 times in a row and burn out $60, $70 worth of ammo. You know, nothing to that. But Sport still has 375 ammo if you want to get pure ammo and then reload the casings later, Michael. Or they did a week or two ago. Who knows if they still have it now?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm wondering. If who's got any recipes that they can send my way, especially for lower recoil. You know, I'm not trying to download it to 308 levels, but just something where I can save a little bit of powder.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, why don't we look it up while we're here? Hey, CloverTac, how you doing tonight?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, so I'm going to look it up while we're here.
Adam Hymas has something there in the comments. That's something similar to what I've done for fire forming for my Wildcat gun. Although instead of oatmeal filler, I used Dacron.
Dacron?
Yeah, like Dacron pillowcase filling or pillow filling.
Really?
Go in the craft store. Yeah. Yep, I was using small amounts of actually bullseye powder.
Yeah, like Dacron pillowcase filling or pillow filling.
Sorry about that. I was unpausing this so I could catch up.
Oh yeah, no problem. I was kind of curious what the noise was at first. It took me a minute to catch up. Yeah, I would put like a small piece of toilet paper on top of bullseye, and then Dacron filling, and then a 160 grain cast bullet for this Wildcat rifle I have for fire forming my brass from 300 H&H to 300 Kodiak.
300 Kodiak.
300 Kodiak. There's a rifle shop in the 50s and 60s in Reno, and the guys, they were trying to be the next P.O. Ackley or Weatherby and started making their own modified cartridges, and you had to mail order them from them, and they went under, of course. They didn't stick around, but I ended up with this old Enfield model of 1917. You know, they're built like a tank, but it's got a really nice French walnut stock on it, and 300 Kodiak. Had to do a whole lot of research and learn how to reload for that. It's basically a 300 Weatherby without the radiused shoulders.
So that French stock, I've got to ask, the marks that are left when they tie the white flag around it, how do you get those out of that stock, man?
No. French walnut. This was an American-made gun. The model in 1917 Enfield was made by the U.S. Mine's a Winchester rifle, but they were based on the English pattern 14 that was originally in 303. We started building the same gun as a 1917 and 30-06.
So is that when we told them that we weren't going to come help them if they didn't send us some good rifle stocks to go over there with?
No, this was, back in the old days, if you wanted a custom hunting rifle, it was built on a military action.
Yeah.
So this
Definitely.
gun shop that built this, it was built on that action, but it's got a custom barrel and a custom stock, and they had a lot of work done to it. Had to have the magazine extended and bolt face opened up, and it's a pretty cool rifle.
Seriously though, when we're talking about French milsurps, has anybody ever seen a beat up French milsurp? Because I don't know that I ever have.
Well, no, because the only thing they used them for was for surrendering with.
Right?
Most of the time they're
That's what-
completely unfired.
I mean,
Yep,
I'm being
never shot,
serious
only
about
dropped
this.
once.
I've been to a lot of
Yeah.
gun shows, been multiple times to the largest one in the world. And I mean, you look at a French rifle and they're all beautiful.
Yeah, because the French government and the French high command continuously preps for the last war they fought.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, hey, Chuck, do you know of any good gunsmiths in Anchorage that can do a pin and weld? There's Stan Jackson. Then there's the guy behind the Starbucks over off of Diamond. Good gunsmith if you need to do that. He's the guy I'd probably use. The Wild West will do it. They're going to be expensive. They do a good job, but they're going to be expensive. So yeah, that's where we're at. So that's that. Let's see here. Going back to Michael Kaler's original question here. So I'm going to share the screen, which I was sharing a minute ago, but we got off topic. So I would suggest Barnes bullets. So the TSX is great at like maybe 100, 150 yards, maybe 200 yards and in. And here with these different powders, you can still get pretty good velocity. And I wouldn't load a minimum charge, but you could be in a light for caliber bullet. You could load in between there, and you should still get less recoil than you experienced the other day, I would assume. So I would consider that there, but I don't think you can find any of these powders in Anchorage right now. I haven't seen any of those. The one I think I've last seen is Win 760, believe it or not. I think that's the one they had the 8-pound case for $250 of.
Well,
So,
and that's why I'm not really looking to download it as much as I am like what powder is going to fill the case best.
mm-hmm.
And then on whatever powder we have so that I can do it, I can reload them for less than what, almost $4 a round right now.
Yeah. So if you're reloading at $3 a round, you're doing good.
Yeah. And that's why it's like whatever I can do cheapest. And again, I mean, I don't mind it downloaded for her to be able to get a little more used to it, but I'd really rather just do it cheaper so I can get more rounds out for that same investment.
Yeah.
Do you like H1000 for the 375 Ruger?
Never reloaded for it.
So yeah, he's asking. This is his first reload for it.
Because we can talk afterwards, but I might have a source for you to get some military pull down powder that is it was for 50 BMG tracer rounds, but it's supposed to work. It's supposed to have a very similar burn rate and use the same load data as H1000.
Shipping powder to Alaska is the same thing as shipping ammo to Alaska.
Oh, so. I did not realize he was another guy stuck in Alaska. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So
yeah. Thank you though.
I shouldn't have said stuck in Alaska. That's not how I meant for it to come out.
In regards to ammo, yes, that's a very true statement.
Yes. Yeah. Like we were not offended by that.
Yeah, because it's true.
Yeah. And the one thing about
Alaska, we got no ammo on my shelves either.
Well, the thing about Alaska is you do kind of feel stuck here because there is no road going out that you can drive to another state or drive to another area of the country or go drive to the beach or something like that. You are pretty much stuck here. I have a passport. I could drive through Canada. I can't take my guns with me, but I could drive through Canada.
You can. You just have to be very smart and you better know what you're doing.
You got to pay the fees ahead of time, and they got to be certain guns to do it legally. So
you don't have to pay it ahead of time. You can show up at the border and do it.
Oh, okay, that's cool. All right, let's see what Nazar has for you here on the 375 Ruger. Oh, wrong one. Here we go.
Look at Adam Hyman. Hymas. Hyman. Yeah, you can fit 3 Alaskas inside of Texas.
Whatever.
Just remember that Australians look at Alaskans like Alaskans look at Texans.
Yeah, you can cut Alaska in half, and Texas will be the 3rd largest state. Yeah. All right, here we go. 375 Ruger. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, you got the electronic copies.
Yeah, well, this is available online. Yeah, you can just look this up. Just Google. All right, so you got more hybrid 100V. I think I have a pound of this powder, and I think Arctic Ammo and Reloading had it in stock. This is supposed to be the most accurate powder. And that's for a 260 grain. It doesn't say. It looks like it's an AccuBond. They got an AccuBond, a partition, and a solid. Oh crap, a solid. So
whichever one of those bullets is cheapest right now. It's all about getting myself and the wife the highest number.
Well, all of these bullets are premium bullets. You're not going to find core locks to reload right now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and that's true. But whatever I can find, I'm just going to go off of bullet weight and start low. I guess that's I don't do a lot of this, but
as long as you have a pretty accurate scale, anything between the 79 and the 81 here would be fine if you want to just kind of do that. Now you're not going to get 100 rounds out of this pound of powder at those kind of powder charges, just so you know. So you're only going to get about 80, maybe 75, 70, something like that.
But again, if I pay $30 or $35 for a pound of powder, and I can get 75 rounds out of it, I'm 30 cents into that round, or 40 cents into the round.
Then you've got the bullet, which is going to be about another. Probably actually in these, it's probably going to be close to 80 to 100, or 80 cents to 100 cents, 80 to $1.
Yeah,
and so and then the casing and the primer and stuff like that. And if you need large rifle magnum primers, just to have a few, I'll share with you. All right, I'm sure there's something you can trade me.
Yeah, I'm sure I've got something. You know what? In fact, I got an entire box of 338 Win Mag. I'm looking to offload.
There you go. But I'm not looking to offload a whole brick of primers, so I'm thinking about like 100 here.
Oh, okay. Well, and if you think about it, this is not our home defense gun. I don't need to practice shooting this under barricades. I don't need to look mall ninja cool in my 375 Ruger. The wife needs to be able to fire 2 shots, one at 100 yards and one at 50 yards with me yelling at her from shooting sticks.
Yeah, there you go.
Why
are you yelling at her?
Best way I know to stress inoculate someone without actually having a plains game charge them.
If you were yelling at me, I'd be pretty stressed as well. I just have to say.
That reminds me when my daughter was still in the junior club before she headed off to go start shooting in college. We did a lot of practices with a thing called the guts match. And it's about shooting under pressure. And what it is, everybody takes a shot. The person with the lowest scoring shot is out. But at that point in time, they can do anything with except for step in front of the firing line, touch the person or touch their equipment to distract them. And we had kids picking up, steel folding chairs and beating them together like cymbals and screaming right in their face. I always got my daughter with just all I had to do is quote lines from Talladega Nights, and that was enough to do it. But shooting under stress.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's one of those things. Once your body learns how to shoot, under stress, and you've been stress inoculated, that it's hard for something else to stress you out because it's like, and when you've got those actions memorized, like we saw on your video, where I was trying to cycle the bolt fast and I cycled it to 308 length. oops, short stroke the bolt. And that's why you do it. That's why you've got to get in the habit of doing it. And that also showed me that I was going to have that, so now I can go back and fix it, and she'll do the same thing, and you can do those little things too, especially if it's just me and her on the line, or, a controlled environment. You can just walk up and start gimping them on the head, just to get them distracted so they have to focus on it.
All right, let's get back to the chat here. Jeg Jr., we were way behind on the comments. Any experience with the clamp-on muzzle brake? Yes, actually. Matter of fact, I had a clamp-on pin screwed in the bottom set pin, one on a Ruger Mini 14. Actually did really well until it came loose. It actually shrank the group size of that inaccurate Mini 14 to less than 2 inches at 100 yards. With 45 grain Walmart white box jacketed hollow point 223. That's the only thing. I would never use one on bolt action. I would pay the money to have it threaded. So anybody else experience on a clamp-on muzzle brake?
A lot of experience with whip machine. If you're looking to get a good clamp-on muzzle brake that are very, very effective, whip machine, WITT, they make great stuff.
Okay, I have no experience with it, so I can't argue. But yeah. If you think it's good stuff, that's good. Anybody else? Clover, Michael, any experience?
Nope.
I had none to speak of, other than I've got a couple 1022s, but they don't really serve a purpose, other than it looks cool.
It does look cool. All right.
The whip machine ones, you can't just purchase them. You have to. Every one of them's custom made. So you measure the diameter of your barrel at the muzzle with a pair of calipers, and then you measure the diameter an inch back from the muzzle, and that clamp-on brake is machined for your rifle.
Okay.
That's actually not a bad idea. Not horrible. Does it have set screws that go down into the barrel? Or
no. There's no set screws. It actually has screws on the bottom. It's split on the bottom, so it actually clamps together. But it really doesn't take much. When you drop one on, it's like you barely have to touch those screws at all because it's such a perfect fit. If you did your job right measuring it, they machine it so it's such a nice fit before you even have to tighten it up. They're kind of a weird looking brake, but they're super, super effective.
There you go. If it works, there you go. 10mm guy, remember me here. There you go. Dragon Talon TSI AWD all-wheel drive. First time I've seen you in the chat. Good.
Nope.
Thanks for
Yeah,
stopping.
he was either on here or on Tubes, one of them, and we were chatting about 10mm for a while.
There you go. 10mm is the best. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is a good little channel. Alaska True Outdoors. He's down in Kenai. Had a video on reduced loads for 375 Ruger. I'd go check him out. So
yeah, I have watched his whole series, and I forgot what he put on there, and I figured I'd throw the question out to create conversation.
There you go. Yeah, but I think I have a pound of that hybrid V100. I bought it because it looked like the best thing that Arctic Ammo and Reloading had that could be used in multiple Magnum calibers. So yeah, that right there is not a true fact, Adam. That is a lie. We already went over that. Yeah. Have you ever seen a map? Has anybody here ever seen a map of Alaska superimposed on the lower 48?
Yes.
I know you have, Michael, but okay.
What was the question? You broke up on my end.
Have you seen a map of Alaska superimposed on the lower 48? What it would actually look like?
You mean the lower 48 superimposed onto Alaska?
Oh, yeah, I stand corrected. Yes.
Either way.
Yeah. Let's see. While we're here, I just got to prove this to everybody because. So here we are. I'm searching one on Google right now. I'm just gonna click on this one. All right. But yeah. So if y'all see that, then that's you can see that the tip of Alaska is in North Dakota, where Barrow would be right up here is in North Dakota. Anchorage is right here. It would be in southern Missouri. That's how big Alaska is. Southern Missouri. The Kenai Peninsula end of it goes into Oklahoma. Juneau would be in Georgia. The Aleutian Islands would be out in the Pacific Ocean or on Baja Peninsula in Mexico there. Can you just see how big Alaska is compared to the rest of the United States? No, literally, if you could combine all of Alaska's little islands and panhandle and everything into one big square and you cut it in half, that square would be bigger than Texas. Like I said, if you cut Alaska in half, it would be Texas would be the third largest state. So sorry, Adam, I had to go there, and so just had to go there. So there we go. All right. Let's see. Got a lot of comments to catch up with here. Canada will allow 18-inch plus bolt guns and revolvers with 4-inch plus barrels, if I remember, $20 a gun. That's not bad. That means I can do a few of mine. Michael, you're muted because you were making noise, so you're going to have to unmute yourself. Funny, growing up, every time I tried to remember what's the band, I can't remember the. Okay. In stock Hornady interlocks for $375. There you go. There you go. That's actually probably Mid-South. That's probably a good bullet for you, Michael. Mid-South Shooter Supply is actually really good. I've actually gotten stuff I've already ordered from them. It came relatively quick for these days. So there you go.
It's pretty old school projectile.
It is, but the interlock is bonded decently. I mean, if you're just trying to get rounds downrange, wouldn't be what I would go take game with. I'd probably go with that Barnes LRX because I love the Barnes LRX. But yeah,
maybe not an Alaskan game, but the interlocks work just fine on most of the stuff in the lower 48.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But to be honest, an interlock is probably going to work just fine on a bear that you are hunting. On one that's hunting you, that might be a little different, but
yeah.
Rifle bullets in stock. Shop now. Yes, I will go.
Yeah. While you buy those, yeah. You got casing. All right. What's up, Ghost Tactical? Good chat earlier, by the way. Sorry, I dished out in the middle of it to go to take a nap, but still eating. Okay. And looks like we've caught up, and I don't have a translation for that. Emotional Kim, but yeah, John Phaser lives here in the middle of Alaska. He has to drive 6.5 hours each way to come shopping here in the Anchorage or the Valley area. So there is that. So yeah, he's way out there. So I don't know if I'm going to come out where you are, John, if I'm going to go up to Fairbanks with Alaska Frontier 1. But I want to shoot a video of shooting boiling water. I'm going to put food coloring in, and you just use different different calibers, excuse me. Put food coloring in water, boil it at like -50 degrees outside, and watch it blow up into smoke or into snow. You know how you can pour boiling water off of a porch, and if it's cold enough, it'll turn into like instant snow. Yeah, it like poofs up and everything. It's pretty cool. So I want to do shooting boiling water at -50 degrees. So that's something I want to do.
So you would have to shoot that off of the burner, I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably. What I'd probably do is I'd have my car running, and I would have them boiling on the flat surface in the back of my little Honda CRV, and then I would take them out of there and shoot them one at a time from about 25 yards away to be safe, and that kind of thing.
But you wouldn't have a lot of time, or would you? About how much time would you have to get that done?
Oh, as long as the water's still on, I would shoot it off the burner, yes. So I'm going to buy some cheap expendable burners to do it too. So
yeah, you would think just like a Coleman or something type thing.
Yeah. There's little one burner Colemans that are like $20. Of course, by the time you do that, the little cheap pot to put it in, the food coloring stuff, that's like $200 in that video right there. But
ultimately, you hope you don't shoot your burner, and you could use that for any number of things for the future. So
yeah, but I think the exploding water itself might damage the burner. So
yeah, if you're putting boiling water into -50 and blowing it up, anything that touches it, it might do that whole crack the pan thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could definitely do that. Ghost, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good now. I just got some food in me. I was starving.
There you go. Yeah, I've been eating nothing but ice cream and mashed potatoes for the last cold mashed potatoes for the last couple of days. Getting a tooth pulled.
That's an interesting combo, but I'm down with it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, my dairy free ice cream. So yeah. Well, I have a special diet. I have celiacs with IBS, so there's no gluten, no dairy, no soy, and no corn, and so wonder I'm still fat. Anyway, it's the dairy free
You
ice
can't
cream.
eat any good stuff.
Yeah. So it's all sugar. So
Dude, you should try to
put
go
on
out
years.
to eat and not be disrespectful.
What's that?
I said, I was telling a ghost, or was it Ghost Dad or whoever it was that said that? Yeah, that like you should try going out to eat with him and not be disrespectful to him by like, yeah, give me some of that bacon and them jalapeno eggs.
All right.
So Chuck, my wife was like, he's eating ice cream in Alaska. I was like, hey, that's how he rolls, you know?
Yeah. I'm serious. Like, if it's 15, 20 degrees out and I put on too much clothes and I go out snowshoeing, I'm burning up. Like, I'm sweating. And then if I stop for any amount of time over 5 minutes, I've caught my breath, I'm freezing,
I've noticed that I get cold extremely quick now, and I didn't before. So weight loss definitely makes a difference with the hot cold thing for sure.
Yeah, when I first got up here, I lost like 60 pounds and I gained it all back, but plus a pound or two. But when I first got up here, I got down to 185 pounds, and it was. I got really cold in the winter. Like I was bundling up. When I was first here, I could wear just a pair of pants, no gloves, 19 degrees, go out snowshoeing for a few hours, And then when I lost all that weight, it was like face mask up to here, cover your nose, cover your ears, 3 layers on under here. I still wore a light windbreaker though, instead of a heavy coat when you go snowshoeing. That's my issue. I haven't been wearing a light windbreaker lately. I've been wearing a heavy coat, and you need to put the heavy coat in your pack. So
my wife's from a tropical island, and she's freezing if it breaks 50 degrees. So yeah, she would not last a day in Alaska. I promise you.
Now,
I remember that living in Hawaii as a kid. The coldest it got when we were down there is it got to 54, and you had kids wearing like sweatpants and those big, goofy, puffy starter jackets, like to school, sitting in we didn't have heaters in the classrooms. They just had those little wood slats. Oh, yep. And now I'm living here.
Yeah. Alaska, according to John Fazer, who would know, because he probably buys a lot of it when he drives the 6.5 hours here to Anchorage, Alaskans eat more ice cream per capita than anybody else. There you go. All right.
But do you have Bluebell?
I haven't ate dairy since before I came up here.
So you would know if you've had Bluebell.
Yeah, the answer to that's no. But yeah.
Greatest ice cream ever. Just saying.
You lie. That is a dirty, rotten lie. You need to have Umpqua ice cream, buddy.
Yeah, that don't even sound appetizing.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, it's named after the Umpqua River in Oregon.
Yeah.
I
thought you said kumquat there for a minute. I'm like, that don't even sound good.
Umpqua.
Oh, I thought you said kumquat too. I was like, no, thank you.
No, Umpqua. It's named after the Umpqua River in Oregon.
All right, Matt here says I need to shoot the boiling water with an SKS that I've set out in the cold, and the rifle will go full auto on me.
Gotta love that floating firing pin.
Well, that's not conducive to trying not to mess up your burner.
Well, I mean, sure you happen to get the propane beneath it in the cold, that'd be fun too.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right. Yeah, so, but I got to come do that with either him or Alaska One Andy. So,
How's the music video coming?
I've got to refilm all of my parts. And I've been sick the last couple of days, so I hadn't been able to do it. I was going to release it tomorrow. But yeah, I got to refilm all of my parts. And I think all of y'all sent me a part, so thank you very much. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting edit. I'm going to have to like save a version and then edit it and save another version and edit something else in. So it's going to be, there's going to, once I film my parts, because my camera that I filmed the test video in was didn't set itself on 1080p. It set itself on 720 or 540 in places, and so it's like, the lighting was good, the camera's still fairly good. So, and I uploaded it like in a 520 or 740, 720 format. So, what is cool is that I took out the beginning of the video where it just had pictures of gun control, and I actually put in what's his name saying, "Hell yeah, we're going to come take your AR-15, your AK-47, and Camilla Harris and stuff like that." And and Biden, I put all of them in, and Trump's take the guns first and due process later, which is just as bad as any of the rest of them, if not worse. Yeah, so I put all that in there at the beginning, and but I got a lot of people that sent me clips, and I really thank you. A lot more than last time. Yeah, and Ghost, I really love your 9mm or 5.56 that you did. So that's good. It's going to be a good video. I hope to have it ready by Saturday, because I promised Rob last week I would have it ready for this week, and so Saturday is still this week. That's my stretching of the promise there, Rod.
But it's not this year.
That wasn't the promise. The promise was this week. So, yeah. Yeah, I actually shared the video with Brownies, even though he didn't send a clip or anything in, just because he helps me out so much. He said it was pretty good. So, somebody's clicking and popping. But anyway, so. Yeah, I love snow. I have to say cold overheat myself. I cannot stand being in the heat. I do not plan on going back to Georgia in the summer ever in my life. Not saying I won't. I'm just saying I don't plan on it. So there is that. So anyway, big thing right now, everybody make sure you do go comment on I know Brownies has already put it on there, go comment on the ATF pistol brace thing, because they took it down, according to Michael Kaler here, for administrative reasons. So that doesn't mean that it's down for good. It meant that they took it down to correct it. So something to think about, and it is back up. So make sure you go put a comment on the pistol braces thing. Personally, I've decided I'm just gonna, they said to be legal, you can take your pistol brace off or remove your upper from your lower and replace it with a 16-inch barrel. So, if they're gonna come raid my house, they're gonna find one with a 16-inch barrel on it. So something like that. So,
well, there's also another comment period people need to be aware of. The Department of Commerce the comptroller, Office of the Comptroller under the Department of the Treasury also has a comment period open now, and it's potentially a positive thing. They're looking at changing some rules which would help to keep financial institutions from discriminating against, among other industries, the firearm industry. So I've got a video on that, or we did a live, Ghost and I did it earlier today, kind of walking through that. All the links are there. So if people are out there, they're in a commenting mood, go read through that, just as I encourage you to do with the braces thing. Read it for yourself. Don't take anybody else's word and what's in it and what's going on, and then run over and comment. But I've got all the links for that one too. We need to be aware of things on all different fronts.
Very good. Yeah, I listened to a part of that chat and went and made a comment. So, yeah, definitely want to go on that. I was going to ask you about that. You want to go into a little bit more detail on that, or is that just basic we need to know of?
Well, I mean, as with even with anything, when you're talking about these comment periods, right, that are open, no matter the department, the bureaucracy that opens them, when you address these in the comment, you need to be specific. You need to cite specific things. So even if you go and you're in support of this thing with the comptroller, be specific about what part of it you're in support of. That way they know that you've actually read it and you're paying attention. That holds a lot more weight, specific comments. But yeah, essentially, I mean, we all know, we've heard it before. We've heard it with the Patreon thing, with PayPal, with Shopify, with many different entities and elements, how different companies have lost their credit card processing and multiple things. Well, all of these things are what they call an SMB, and I'm not sure what the acronym for that is. But basically, SMBs relies on a larger financial institution, right, to handle the money. And so it's not really the fault of necessarily those particular entities. And so we all know how that's gone. We've seen people complain about it and stuff over the last several years. And like I said, this is the Office of the Comptroller looking to kind of tighten to rein in that. And from here on out, what they're going to want is that if banks discriminate or reject offering services to a company, they have to give legitimate reasons citing risk factors and other things. Which they may very well go around, in a roundabout way and chop them off anyway, right? But at least I think, in my opinion, with this, again, read it for yourself because my opinion is my own. I think at least with the Office of the Comptroller putting this out to the banks and saying, hey, you can't do a blanket discrimination according to the industry, be it healthcare, be it farming, be it firearms, be it whatever. You need specific reasons for that individual company or whatever on a case-by-case basis. In other words, we want specifics. You need to give specifics. And I think if you task them with that, especially with some companies and stuff, right? A company that produces handguards, let's say, or a company that produces weapons-mounted flashlights is not the same as a company that produces firearms. You know what I mean? So right. All of that needs to be weighed on an individual basis anyway. So ultimately, again, I think it's a good thing. That's kind of the breakdown of it. So yeah, go read it, check it out, and comment for or against. Some people out there may be against it, and if you are, let your voice be heard. That's what the Federal Registry is about in these comment periods. People overlook it. They often think because we're firearm channels and we really only talk about the stuff that relates to firearms, right? When they open these comment periods, and typically that's with the ATF. But as this comptroller issue illustrates, the government in all different types of the bureaucratic sectors open these periods whenever they're looking into a rule change or a clarification or something else. And so we need to be aware that this is a mechanism and a process within our government, and we need to participate. It's the same as voting or anything else that is, to me, that is a civil duty.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It is a mechanism. To me, it shouldn't be a mechanism because I don't think the individual branches of the executive branch, individual departments of the executive branch should be changing the rules. I think that should be all Congress changing the rules.
Right.
And I understand Congress doesn't have the time to take up every little thing. So there's definitely
they're tasked though with certain things, like for example this comptroller issue, right? Put the AT up on the shelf. That's a totally separate thing. When we're talking about that, you have to kind of like this they're talking about in this letter, right? We got to get down into specifics and on a case-by-case basis, and the comptroller is tasked with certain things, right? By legislation, by the way that it's set up, they're tasked with certain things, but it's not necessarily tasked with specific things, right? So that's where some of the clarification and other things come into play. And people complain all the time. I'm sure you've probably complained about it. I know I have. We complain about bureaucracy, right? Well, these bureaucrats are not elected. Well, they may not be elected, but with this mechanism, we have an opportunity to voice our concern. And if enough people get on board and our voice is loud enough, the bureaucrats will potentially listen, because ultimately Congress, who does represent us, hold the purse strings. So if there's enough of the congressional constituents, right, that are raising a fuss, and this bureaucracy goes against that fuss, then is Congress gonna hear it when it comes time for that budget to be approved? It's possible, right?
Possible, yeah. I think we're to the point where the federal government doesn't listen to us a lot, period. I mean, the Republicans didn't pass any gun control, pro-gun stuff. They didn't pass a balanced budget. They didn't pass Life of Conception Act. They didn't pass anything that Republicans are supposed to pass, right?
Right.
So, I don't know that they listen to us or not when they have both houses. And now they're never going to have all three branches of government again. It's mathematically impossible. So that's just something to think about that. So, yeah. Jason Driver here brings up a good point. I wish politicians would run on what laws they are going to do away with and not what infringements on freedom they are going to pass. It's a good point. But again, they'd still have to live on their word right there, Jason. Jason's a good guy. I went to college with him, actually.
Problem with that is how often does the government, local, state, federal, or any of them, how often do they get rid of laws, right? The problem is trying to keep those laws from getting passed in the first place, be it through who you vote in at the ballot box or the activism in making sure that your particular elected representative knows who you are in a good way, right? Doesn't know who you are as far as that's the crazy person on the phone or the crazy person in my office, right? And knows that you're going to be a voice. You're going to spread, the word that, what they're doing is wrong or whatever it might be. And you're ultimately going to affect them at the ballot box. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people, they may email their congressman, and Ghost can attest to this, but oftentimes if you email your congressman or whatever it might be, your representative, you get an aide, right? You get a temp or an intern, and you don't know the difference. And so if you're able to show up in person, whether that's at a town hall, which they're required to have multiple times a year and all this other stuff, schedule a meeting with them. Call them before that town hall and say, hey, I want a minute. I want 3 minutes. I want, not 15 minutes or a half hour, but say, hey, I want a couple of minutes. And I do that. And quite often, usually they tell me, okay, well, they'll come to me like at the town hall. They'll come over there, some of their handlers or whatever you want to call them, and they'll say, hey, you said, you requested to have a couple of minutes with the congressman. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, do you mind walking with him to the vehicle when this is over? And I'm like, no, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. As long as I get one-on-one time with them to voice my concerns and, and hear what he has to say. I'm fine with that. And if I can do that, other people can do that as well.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Yeah. Make sure that you are keeping these people accountable. That's the biggest thing.
Make sure they know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Make sure they know. That's very, very good advice. Adam Hymas here, the Second Amendment just has to outlive the debt bubble. I think that's why Biden's trying to attack it so hard right now, and why Trump tried to attack it so hard, to be honest with you, because they know that bubble is about to burst at any moment. Should have bursted in 2008. I don't know, but a lot of you don't know this, but I used to be a real big prepper person, and I'm not now. I do some preps just to be safe, but I don't think as a Christian I should go around prepping like I'm building Noah's Ark. I don't think that's what the scripture says for me to do. But and I'm not a perfect Christian. I got potty mouth and all that stuff, and for that I apologize. But that being said, the one thing you should be prepping for is the collapse of the dollar. It's going to happen. It should have happened in 2008. If you guys have read the book Patriot, his math on how the dollar collapses there, when it was written at $8 trillion in debt, was very good math on exactly how all it would take. And you only have to have three things to make the debt. And it's more complicated than this, but to make the dollar collapse itself, you only have to have three things. You have to have excessive government debt, monetizing or printing of the money to cover that debt, and loss of foreign investment in your currency. It's the only three things you have to have. Okay. Yeah. So, and guess how many of those three things we have? About 2.75.
Right.
So, and I'm talking, Zimbabwe-like. I don't think it's going to be 8,000% inflation or 20,000% inflation like that. But I have a really good friend who grew up in Poland, and his dad was an engineer. And the French had just fought a war with Algeria. Y'all know about that. And Like, so to rebuild, they asked the Russian bloc nations to come, and that's how they escaped Poland during the time of the crisis when the ruble underwent its devaluation. And he remembers standing in line for bread with bills that were marked in the millions and billions of Polish currency. I don't remember what it's called at the time. And to see if there was bread there.
Right.
And so, like, a lot of people don't understand, like, we have a food shortage right now with COVID. It's not major food shortage, but I haven't been able to buy my turkey burger in the big packs at Costco for 6 months now. With my special diet, the organic turkey burger that they sell there is, really good for me. I haven't been able to buy it, so I've just been buying straight chicken. Well, what happens when Foster Farms runs out of the chicken? What happens when they go under because they can't staff enough people, or they're not considered essential employees? The security guard's not considered an essential employee, so somebody comes in there and does something stupid. It just seems like that. And Booker Dog Mayor makes a point. In the last 52 weeks, Bitcoin went from a 52-week low of approximately $4,200 to a recent $26,000. Now, is that Bitcoin going high, or is that the dollar going low? I would argue it's the dollar going low. And Bitcoin is a fiat currency too, so don't let anybody fool you. The thing about Bitcoin and electronic currencies is that they are more divisible than even regular money, because you can divide them to the millions of places. So as they go up and down, they're divisible enough that the average person can still have them. Yeah, this is something we do on a monthly basis. We buy 10 to 12 things of water, and I'm looking at a whole house water filter here. And of course, we got snow to melt here, except for this week, because it warmed up to 56 the last 2 days and melted all the snow, and then it cooled down and all it's ice on the roads now. But yeah, that's fun. So yep. So that's that. Fiat, yeah, fiat currency is going to crash, period. Do you need to go buy gold? I say it's better to have things you can trade personally, unless you want to be the next rich guy in your town and have a whole bunch of gold around. But, it just depends on
precious metals. Precious metals are for setting yourself up once you're out of the immediate crisis.
Yes.
But you can't eat precious metals, and precious metals are going to be hard bartering items. So you need a combination of both, or all. You need items that you're going to be able to sustain yourself with. Then you're going to need items you're going to need to barter with, because obviously you're not going to be able to have all items. There's going to be other things that other people are probably producing or may have that you want to trade for. And then again, coming out of it late stage, if you want to set yourself up in a good position, then yes, you want those precious metals.
Yep. All right. Mr. B's Fishing Things. Good day to you, sir. Water is important, but if you are stuck in an arid area, I have a good tip. Walk barefoot. Feel temperature difference. The cold spots are the best places to dig down. There you go. That's an idea.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Yeah. Keep lead and brass around. Like you want to have lead and brass around. Erica Laughlin, 14. Nice to see you here. It's good to see you. Brass, copper, primers, powder. Yep, definitely. Just stuff you want to stock up. Fishing line, fishing hooks. Fishing line, most people don't know this. It does go bad, like food. Fishing line that's on my reel from last year, I often lose and break a lot easier than spinning new line on every year. That's been packaged and sealed. So a lot of people don't realize it.
Especially if you fish in the salt.
Yeah.
So is the stuff like spider wire and stuff, it's the same way?
Rob, do you know?
The stuff like spider wire, when you get into some of the monofilaments, some of that stuff has a really, really long lifespan.
Right.
But it's, they say it's like 100,000 years or some crazy thing to break down.
Well,
so yeah, it might get you some more time.
Right. Well, I'm sure like anything, being out in the elements makes a big difference as opposed to being stored properly, of course.
Absolutely.
And
Heat,
then I would,
ultraviolet, all that stuff.
yeah, that's what I was say with ultraviolet. I would think that something with like regular fishing line, I would think ultraviolet would be really damaging over time to that type of fishing line. It's just, I don't know that, but I would think it would be.
Yeah. I know, like, I fish a lot in the estuary down in Seward, and 2 years ago, that's all I did because the forest fire was too big over the Russian River, and yeah, it's that. Erica Laughlin 14 wants to know, it's 30-06 a good caliber? Absolutely. Usually there's anywhere in the world there's ammo. Usually now here in Alaska there's not because it's sold out everywhere just about.
Right.
And but even in the lower 48, I know there are a lot of places that have a box or two of 30-06 on the shelf of some kind. There are a lot
Not right now.
What's that?
Not right now.
Not right now in your part. There are a lot of.
I have a buddy that works at a gun store. They had a guy walk in. He found the only box of ammo they had on the shelf was 45 long Colt. He bought the single box of 45 long Colt, put it on the counter, and said, "Sell me a gun that shoots this."
Wow. There you go. Yeah. That's 30-06 is a great caliber. And as a crap hits the fan caliber, there are a lot of Germans and Japanese and North Koreans and Italians and Turks from World War One that know you can get put down with it. So God forbid you have to, but definitely that. Clover, I don't want to know how you know this. Fishing line can be good for stitches in a pinch.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, I've seen my grandfather sew himself up with all kinds of stuff, and I mean, I don't mind telling the story. I wouldn't do it. I'm not tough enough, I don't think. I mean, in a situation where I was bleeding to death and there was no hospital, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you do what you got to do, right? Drink some whiskey, bite down on a stick, and let somebody get after it. But no, I've seen my grandpa do crazy stuff like that.
Yep. All the fish wheels will clear out rivers in 6 months. Yeah. There's a lot of people that still do fish wheels.
So what is that? I'm not familiar with what that is.
Imagine like a water wheel for an old mill,
mm-hmm.
But instead of making it go downwind, you're winding it or you're doing some type of motor on it to make it scoop going upstream, and the fish just go right into it and get slapped out.
Oh, wow. Like those in a hopper or something.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like an automatic hopper for fishing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, when you have 50, 60,000 salmon swimming upstream in a few days, yeah, you can do stuff like that. There's schooling stuff like that. Yes, Erica, it's killed more elk and moose than anything else in probably the world. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's a very good caliber. Would I go 30-06 or 300 Win Mag? Yes, I would, or 7 Mag, but there's nothing wrong with 30-06 for elk and moose, and you can take them anything with the right bullet style is the biggest thing. Construction, you want I like the all copper bullets that have a ballistic tip so that they stay together and penetrate deep. Barnes LRX, Barnes Tip PSX, Hornady GMX. I think you can take just about any game in the world with 30-06 like that, but is what it is. So yeah, it's perfect. So my judge shoots 45 Colt. There you go. All right. Well, I am going to end this chat because I told my wife it'd last an hour and I got to help her do something afterwards. So I got to go, guys. So God bless. Take care. We'll see you at the range. Make sure you subscribe to all these guys, Ghost, Clover, Cherry City. And, make sure you go make all the comments on the Federal Register that you need to because they did not take down the brace thing. So God bless. Take care. We'll see y'all at the range.